Hello friends and family, this is Melissa, teaching artist and art therapist with Project Create. Project Create is a nonprofit organization located in Washington, D.C., providing free art classes and art enrichment classes to children, youth, and families. So I'm delighted to share with you another art project. I'm here in my home. Today we are going to be creating a sensory relief collage booklet. So if you find yourself feeling a little tired or bored, or maybe even stressed or tense, engaging our senses can be a wonderful way to calm ourselves down or wake ourselves up. So today we're going to do that through the art process. This is a two-part art process. What you'll need for the first part, the collage, are some magazines, some scissors, some scrap papers, some kind of glue. I'm going to be working with Mod Podge today, but if you have any kind of Elmer's glue or even a glue stick, those work well. Other items you can use are markers, color pencils, or colorful pens, if you would like. And then for the actual booklet, you're going to need 5 sheets of paper. I'm using cardstock, which is a little bit of a heavier paper. A different kind of paper, I suggest something that is a different color or some kind of pattern. You can use wrapping paper or even a magazine sheet. You're going to need to use hole punch. I have a 2-hole punch that I'm going to be using today, but the single one is great as well. And then some kind of stick. I have a wooden dowel with me here today, but you can also use something like a pencil or maybe even a stick or twig that you find outside. And finally, a rubber band. So to start off, for our sensory collage, we're going to be really looking at pictures that reflect the different senses. So sense, using our sense of smell, textures, things that we can reach out and touch, tastes, things that we can taste with our mouth, sights, things we can see with our eyes, and sounds, what we can hear with our ears. So to start off this process, what I like to do is grab a few magazines, and this is a great thing you can do with your whole family, and find pictures and images that reflect each of the 5 senses. You can put them in different piles, like I did here. And once you do that, we are going to create a collage for each of the 5 senses. So, I actually already did a couple here as examples. This one right here shows different scents. So I was imagining when I saw this lady, she's taking a walk outside with her dog, and I imagined her being outside, smelling all the wonderful things in nature, maybe smelling wonderful grass, or maybe different trees. I think of pine trees. I also found pictures of roses, which have a really sweet smell that's really delicate. And then I found a picture of an orange. An orange has a really energizing smell. I found this bright piece of orange paper that I thought read really nice and captured that tangy scent of the orange. And then I did another collage right here of different things that I could see that I enjoy looking at. I was drawn to all these beautiful books. I love to read, so entertaining my eyes with wonderful words and stories, that helps me imagine wonderful things. I love colors as well, so I was drawn to these colorful eggs. I'm an artist, so paints and brushes and pastels. And finally, there's this beautiful beach scene on a coast somewhere. And another collage I did focused on sounds. So I looked at this picture of these 3 women, maybe they're 3 friends, having dinner together and laughing. So the sound of laughter. There's a family being playful on the beach. Here's a woman in the water splashing around, so I was imagining the sound of the water and the splashing noises. Here's a basketball player, so imagining being at a basketball game and hearing the cheer and the roar of the crowds. Here's a concert, listening to favorite music. And then finally, this picture up here I really liked because I love the sound of water. And there's this beautiful waterfall and this man looking at the waterfall. So I thought I could demonstrate a collage for you. I have a pile of taste pictures. So anytime I work with a collage, I always like to look at all the pictures and put them out in front of me and determine which should go down first. Then I like to try to arrange them on my paper. I usually start with the bigger pictures first. And then maybe put down the smaller pictures. I might think about cutting or trimming down, like this picture seems really big. So maybe I'll trim the waffles down so it can fit on the paper I have. And there's this woman who is baking. I might trim this picture down a little bit too. I don't think I need this edge right here, so I'm going to trim this. And that fits a little bit better. This one with the plate with the vegetables, I might just cut out the plate. I like that shape. That fits a little bit better on the page as well. And I might trim this one a little bit, the sandwich with the fruit and the apples. And then I just try to arrange them. I also have this scrap paper, and I might add a little color or texture to go with it just to make the images pop a little bit more. So maybe something like that. It might change a little bit as I glue it down. Yeah. So I like these pictures because I was thinking about things I like to eat and flavors I like to taste. And I was thinking about all kinds of foods. Foods that are crunchy or foods that are soft. Foods that are sweet, foods that are sour. I especially love spicy foods, so I even include those. And I tried to get a mixture of foods that are healthy and foods that are just sweet and wonderful to eat, treats, to really capture all the tastes that I like. So as you saw, I'm using Mod Podge today, and I'm working with a brush. And when I apply the Mod Podge, I really try to apply a thin layer. And once I put the image down, you'll notice that you might find that you get these little air bubbles, and that's okay. But I always go over with my finger while it's still wet and try to push the air bubbles out. Here's my picture of someone grinding up some spices, and there's chili, garlic, and jalapeno. This is my spicy picture. So I'm gonna put that one down there, but first I have to put down this little scrap paper. It's gonna go under it. You might find scrap papers if you have leftover wrapping papers or tissue papers that you use for gifts. You can also look through different magazines or maybe through old mail and cut out different colors or different kind of backgrounds that have different textures, and you can make your own little pile of scrap papers. If you're not happy with the placement of the magazine picture, you have a little time to lift it up and move it around. Though if the paper's really thin, it might tear a little bit, so you just have to be careful. And then sometimes the edges don't glue down quite right, so I go just around the edges again and just give it a little extra glue. Now I'm gluing down one of my healthy veggie pictures that are roasted on a baking sheet. I don't remember where I put this one, so I'm just moving it around a little bit to see where I like it. I think maybe down here in the corner. And there, we have the page for taste. I'll do one more page to show you, and then we will continue with the next part. So, the next page is textures. So I have a lot of different types of textures here that are represented in the photographs. I have dogs, I have fluffy pillows, I have comfortable furniture, I have water, I have sand, I have the feeling of hugging somebody and laying in the sun. So lots of different options. So we have lots of pictures here to choose from. They may not all fit. So like before, I'm gonna start trimming some of these down and then seeing what they look like on the page. I'm going to trim the end of this. I like how this is coming together. If I don't get all the pictures, that's all right. And I might change my mind. Okay. I'm just going to push this in front of me so I have a little bit of a example so I remember. I'm going to start with this one. There's this soft, cozy bed and these beautiful soft blankets. It'd be lovely to wrap myself up in. After you make your mini collages, it might be even nice to just sit with the imagery and imagine what it would be like to taste or touch or hear the different sounds. Imagine how it would make you feel. You might even have something in your house like a soft blanket, and if you're focusing on things that are soft, you might want to wrap yourself in that blanket as you look at the pictures. That can be a great way to help you relax. Or if you're feeling really tired or even bored, maybe thinking of something that would wake you up and make you feel more alert. So, for example, if you look at your pictures of different smells, and I had that orange, and you happen to have an orange, eating an orange or smelling an orange, taking a bite of an orange, that citrus smell is very energizing. It's amazing. Part of being a human being is that we have this amazing capacity to use our senses. Sometimes we can forget about them or just ignore them when life just gets hectic or there's too much going on. Looks like I'm getting pretty close here. If you're working with Mod Podge, another thing you can do is after you finish gluing down all your pictures, you can go back over all the pictures, do a layer on top, and the Mod Podge acts as a sealer. So it will strengthen your image, it will make it last longer. It does take longer to dry. So the next step of this project today, you would have to wait on that so that it's completely dry and would not stick. Almost done. this final image of, it looks like a little child and his father at the beach playing in the sand. So the feeling of the sand under the feet. All right, so I'm just gonna go back over and smooth all the pictures out as much as I can. And I'm noticing if there are any ends that are sticking up, going back over, pushing them down with a little bit of glue underneath beforehand. There, so we have our last collage. So the next part of this is we're going to actually make a little book. This is an example of the book we're going to work with today. It's very basic and simple to do. So some of these are already done, but what you're going to do once your collages are dry is you're going to fold the paper in half. And you're really going to press down on the middle and make a good crease. Like I said, this one is already done, but I'm just reinforcing it a little bit. Go get the other ones that are already done. And one more. And this is the one we just did together. I'm going to fold it. And it's best to wait before, so that it will dry before you do this. And mine's pretty dry. I'm not worried about it. So there's a nice crease in the middle. It's a crease in the middle for that one as well. So we're going to have to punch some holes. If you're using a 2-hole punch like this, you want to make sure that it's even on both sides. And I measured, I have this little metal piece right here that almost acts like a ruler. So beforehand I measured and make sure that it was in the middle. So I'm going to punch. There's a little stop right here on the end, so I'm making sure that I go right up to the end and then punch. Of course, you can also use a single hole punch, but you'll have to measure because you want to make sure that your punches are even on each paper. So after you do that, you're going to decide which pages you want to go first, second, and third. And you're going to stack them. One on top of the other, like this. And now those are ready to go. That's going to be the inside of our book. So for this other page that I mentioned, this is going to be the cover and the back cover. And what I'm going to do with this one is actually fold it in half, make a crease, turn it over, fold it in half again, make another crease. This is just my easy way of getting the crease right in the middle. I'm going to take my scissors, cut along the middle, and now I have my front cover and my back cover. Now I will hole punch, going right up to that little stop, and punch. So here are my pages that we already stacked up. And then I'm going to put one on the front and one on the back. So the next part is we are going to now bind the book using the rubber band or dowel, or if you have the pencil, you can use a pencil or a twig. And going from the back, you're going to take the rubber band and you're going to go through the holes. If it's easier, you can go page by page and pull it through. You don't want to pull it all the way through. I'm just using my finger here to make sure it doesn't go all the way through. So I will go one by one. And now we have the rubber band through the holes. So now with this side, the front side, you're going to take the little stick and go through the rubber band just like this, and then pull it taut. All right? Then we're going to turn it back over. This is the back of the book. We're going to take the rubber band and we're going to go through the holes on the other side. It's a little more tricky. Sometimes it's easier to have somebody help. And it's stretchy, so it works out okay. So now I've gotten the rubber band through, and now this is the front of the book. I'm going to take this rubber band and go through and get the stick. And now we found our book. We have our little book here. We can open it up, and you can see the different pages that we made. If you want to make this more like a book, you can give it a title. And I found good things, a phrase from my magazine clippings that I thought would be great title for this book for the census. And I have this little scrap of paper that's going to bring it out a little bit, make it stand out. So you might want to create a title, or maybe you want to decorate the front. You can do that. I found this fun little flower embellishment thing in my house. I thought that would be good too. So you might want to look around and see what you could use. It could be anything. Buttons or ribbon or washi tape. Now, if you want to create a title or a chapter heading for each of the different sections, you can do that as well. So this first one is all about textures. So I wrote out textures. And maybe to make it stand out, I can do that. So it's really up to you, what you like, what you think looks nice. And you can do that for every page of your book. So there's another one here. This is sights. So I have the word sights in my little scrap piece of paper. And you can do that for the other parts of the book too, if you prefer. And so there is our book, our sensory relief book of all our favorite things that we like to smell, that we like to hear, taste, touch. So it's been really wonderful today getting a chance to share this book with you. I hope you enjoy it. And I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear about what you thought about this project today, or see pictures of your work, or even how you've used it for yourself. You can email me at programs@projectcreatedc.org. Thank you so much. I hope to see you again. Take care and bye.